Hello, my name is Ilona and this video will be posted Friday, January 26th, 2024. And I want to start with an article from the Mirror. And this is a warning that more local councils will go bankrupt despite, the 500 million pound bailout right now in Great Britain. So a lot of local councils are really near the end of the rope. They don't have the money anymore. It most likely has to do with all these new rules, all these refugees they have to take care of. Here in the Netherlands, we've got now a new law that actually is being pushed through, and that will force city councils to take in refugees. There's already a lot of resistance, so I do believe it has to do with, showing people, and it is certainly with the new cabinet, the new government that will form, they are actually against it. So we're not really, I don't think it's actually going to last, but right now there is of course a lot of fear about that, and it helps also in waking up people. Well, the city councils in Great Britain, obviously a lot of them also have all kinds of problems. These are local councils, so I assume this is like city councils there, that they just don't have the money anymore and they're pretty much bankrupt. So in this video, first I want to take a look at the airplane crash in Russia with, of course, I believe 65 prisoners of the Ukraine aboard, and it was about changing or exchanging prisoners, if I'm not mistaken. But the Ukraine actually shut it down. So they were the ones behind shooting down the airplane because they said there were certain weapons aboard. And now Mr. Z of the Ukraine wants an independent investigation in what's going on. But this is just very interesting. So I wanted to take a look at the energies behind what is going on now. So the first card I've got was the Six of Pentacles. The central card is the Four of Pentacles. Card in the past is the Six of Wands. Then we have the Fool card underneath the Four of Pentacles. And for the near future, we have the Eight of Swords and the Seven of Cups. So to me, this seems like this is feeling powerless and not sure what is going on. So I feel that really the heat is, for Mr. Set it's getting bad for him. It's like it's heating up now against him in a way. I feel that this is actually used in a way. We won't know what's really been going on, but this is what's publicly known. And Russia actually mentioned that there were Ukraine prisoners aboard. So he actually shut down his own people. The Ukraine did. They tried to, minimize that by saying there were weapons aboard. But this is really about holding on to this old power that they think they still have, but it's falling apart. There is no balance anymore, and there is something new happening. And I think, this is necessary to change the perspective on the Ukraine and also Mr. Set, because, in the past, it was looked at they were going to be victorious, they were going to, get Mr. P and Russia, and it's really falling apart. I think this will just lead to more feelings of powerlessness, not knowing what to do. This just shows that Ukraine is really losing it, and it's also changing the perspective in the media and the people around it, because right now there's not much focus on that anymore. You don't really hear about people pro-Ukraine that much anymore. Most people are now focused on the Middle East. So this is interesting. I think this is part of changing that perspective, and also what's been going on for a very long time, that the dark puppets from the Ukraine have been working against their own people, pretty much. This is really what's been going on for a very long time. So he wants an international investigation, but I don't think it's going to lead to anything substantial for quite some time. There's going to be a lot of confusion, but this will lead actually to changing the perspective of the public, and ultimately, of course, they're not going to win. It's really pretty much already ended in a way. But this is just changing that perspective. I think more will come out about that as well. But right now it's very confusing. But this is really about tearing down that reputation that Mr. Said might still have with certain people in other countries, obviously. Like I said, he was shown like he was the victor. It's going to be all right. And things are really changing now. And perspectives are being changed. So that's the feeling I'm getting about this crash and what has happened with the airplane. We won't know exactly what has happened, but I think it is also necessary to change the perspective about Ukraine and about Mr. C and Mr. Set, and what's been happening there. So another thing I also wanted to talk about, there is another thing I wanted to look in this video, and that's of course Kari Lake. I really want to see what the energy is about. But there's also something else I want to mention because this is very important. And this is about Republican Texas Governor Greg Abbott issued a blistering statement aimed at President B and his administration Wednesday, in which he declared his state would protect itself amid the ongoing border crisis. So they really mentioned that because apparently earlier this week, the B administration successfully argued to the US Supreme Court that its own deployment of razor wire on the border was inhumane. So they had to get rid of the razor wire, and they used that to protect the state of Texas. The federal government has broken the compact between the United States and the states. The executive branch of the United States has a constitutional duty to enforce federal laws protecting states, including, immigration laws on the book right now. And Mr. B, President B, has refused to enforce those laws and has even violated them. So he's actually saying that the state of Texas is now using the right to defend itself and will not follow the orders by the Supreme Court. And actually mentions that the United States of America is not protecting the state of Texas. So this is massive. It's like stepping away from that. So I think maybe more states are going to follow, but this is very interesting to see. And he also put even more razor wire around to protect Texas. So they're not. So we'll have to see how this is going to how Mr. B is going to react towards this, but this is very much a very important declaration that the state of Texas is going to protect itself now, and the United States, the federal United States of America, are not doing their job. So the Mr. B administration is not doing what it's supposed to do, and it's not protecting anyone. This is massive. It's very, very important. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted to take a look at... I needed a card from the other cards I just used. So this is what I want to take a look at. It's also extremely important, has to do with Kari Lake. There was a recording published by the Daily Mail, if I'm not mistaken. And very clear, you hear the voice of Kari Lake and Arizona GOP chairman Jeff DeWitt. And he actually tried, and this is from, I think, quite some time ago, because she's running for senator for quite some time now, so I'm not sure when this exactly happened. But he actually wanted her to kind of drop out, kind of pause for 2 years. And he was offering her like a job, and this had to do with certain people. He wasn't mentioning any names, but they were from the East or something. I can find... But you can hear I also put the link to it so you can actually hear what he said. And it's very interesting what's going on. And he actually resigned. So almost 24 hours later, he has resigned when this came out. Because obviously he won't be able to really, stay in that position. And I think this is necessary to show people that really the Democrats and the Republicans both been pretty much, taken over by most of the dark energies. They've placed the puppets in both sides, and this is of course happening all around the world. Here in the Netherlands, the biggest parties all have these puppets everywhere. There are some parties that have, well, at least as I see it, nothing to do with them, but they are not going to get, you know, with all the things happening with the voting, they are not going to get in charge of the government or in the government. They're kept on the outside, so to speak. So, but really in all the big parties, and of course in America, there were in both parties, they placed the puppets so they can control everything. So this is being shown now. And the cards I've got, this is very interesting. We have the Two of Swords. We've got the Magician as the central card. We've got the Knight of Wands in the past. So the Whiteheads are behind this. We've got the Fool card underneath the Magician. And we have the Nine of Pentacles and the Five of Wands for the future. So there's going to be a lot of strife. There's going to be more heads rolling. I think that this will lead to more independence. People are starting to see all these patterns and what's really been going on, not just in the Democratic Party, but also in the Republican Party. So I do think more heads are going to roll. I also saw like on X, from Benny Johnson, who's also on YouTube and talks about all these things that really he needs to name names. Jeff needs to name names. Who were these people that wanted to stop, Kari in her tracks and wanted to kind of get rid of her for 2 years? And this is really about dismantling everyone around Mr. T. They were purposely trying to do that, and it's now so obvious that they are doing that even from the Republican Party, because they have all these still puppets on puppets that need to leave. And I think more heads are going to roll because of what's going on here. And it's also about showing people. Some people are, of course, not aware of this and, trying to, not aware how deep this goes. This is really about stopping Mr. T and, of course, Kari Lake. She is very vocal, very open. A lot of people, in America love her. I think she's great. So for what I've seen of her, she's got a good energy. And she also mentioned in the tape that really they will need to unalive her before she'll stop, and that she's not going to, this is more important. It's an emphasis on this is much more important, and it all needs to, the swamp needs to be drained. This all needs to be taken out. And that's why I think it's purposely done at this moment in time. And this is really about bringing, people back into their own power, understanding there's a new, fresh wind blowing, so to speak, a new way of looking at things. And the old can't come along. They need to be left behind. They can't come along with this. They are not wanted in this process. And I think a lot of all these dark puppets that are still in the Republican Party, I have a feeling that they really need to be, out of there before, of course, the voting. Although we'll have to see how things will go this year and with everything happening. But this is clearly part of draining the swamp. Interestingly enough, this is now coming out. I have a feeling more things are going to come out. We have to wait and see. She mentioned this, Kari, I think a long time ago, about bribes, about things going on. And of course, the media that didn't want to see that, or purposely, of course, made it look like, see, you can, that's nonsense. Nobody's doing that. Well, it's now open. It's now shown. So they can't cover it up anymore either. It's opening now, and people are starting to see this. It's interesting that it's placed now. This is from the past, so I do believe that the Whiteheads are behind this, purposely placing certain things at the right time, because it's interestingly enough that he is now heads to, well, he resigned, but I don't think there was any other position he had now left, and what else he could have done. But this is about bringing independence, and heads will roll. We're going to see more and more about this. I think this is going to get very interesting. There's going to be a fallout, and I do believe that he should name names, Jeff. So come on, who are those people? We want to know. So we'll have to wait and see, but there's more things coming out about this. This is very, very interesting. And it wouldn't surprise me if more things like this are popping out now. So I'd like to leave it at this. Hope to see you in another video. Bye.